Something inside you just shifted. Not loudly, not dramatically, but subtly, quietly. Almost like the world tilted just a fraction. And suddenly, nothing lands the way it used to. Your thoughts wander in ways they never did. The things you once loved feel distant. People you used to connect with easily now seem just out of reach. Places that were familiar feel like someone else's memory. And no matter how much you try to go back to who you were, you can't. Because something inside you has already moved forward. And here's the unsettling part. You don't know what it is. Your mind races. Am I overthinking this? Is this stress? Why does everything feel so strange all of a sudden? You search for answers. You try to explain it away. You try to make sense of a shift you can't control. But nothing fits. What if this isn't confusion? What if this isn't you falling apart? What if this is awakening you? Spiritual awakening doesn't arrive as calm clarity. It arrives as disruption. It shakes your routines, questions everything you thought you knew, pulls you out of autopilot, and forces you to actually see your life for what it really is. At first, it's disorienting, heavy, even lonely. Old habits, old relationships, old ways of thinking, they no longer fit. And that can feel frightening. But this isn't random. It's not meaningless. Every restless thought, every pang of discomfort, every sense that your world is shifting, it's all pointing to something deeper, something beneath the surface that has been quietly asking for your attention. You're not breaking, you're waking up. And if you can surrender to the discomfort, let it guide you instead of resisting it, you'll find clarity, growth, and a life more real than anything you've known before. It's messy, it's disorienting, but it's alive, and it's yours. Now, let's look at the 5 warning signs you are spiritually awakening. Sign 1. You feel disconnected from your old life. It starts quietly. The routines you used to follow feel empty. The goals you once chased don't excite you anymore. Even the version of yourself you used to be feels unfamiliar, and it's confusing because nothing on the outside has necessarily changed. But on the inside, everything has. So you try to force it. You go back to old habits, old environments, old conversations, hoping something will click again. But it doesn't. Because you're not losing your life. You're outgrowing it. And that discomfort, it's not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that you're no longer aligned with who you used to be. Sign 2. You start seeing through people and situations. You notice things now that you used to overlook. Energy feels different. You can sense when someone is being genuine, and when they're not. You pick up on hidden tension in conversations. You feel when something is off, even if no one else acknowledges it. And sometimes it's unsettling, because you can't unsee it. Situations that once felt normal now feel forced. Connections that once felt natural now feel draining. And it creates distance, not because you want to judge, but because your awareness has sharpened. You're no longer interacting blindly, you're seeing clearly, and clarity changes everything. Sign 3. You experience intense emotional waves. One moment, you feel calm, the next, overwhelmed. Emotions you thought you buried start resurfacing. Memories you haven't thought about in years come back. Feelings you avoided demand your attention. And it feels like too much, so you question it. Why am I feeling all of this now? Why can't I just move on? But this isn't random. This is release, because awakening isn't just about becoming something new. It's about clearing what no longer belongs. Old pain, old patterns, old versions of yourself. They don't disappear quietly. They rise so they can finally be let go. Sign 4. You begin to crave solitude. You start pulling back, not out of anger, not out of pride, but because being around too much noise feels exhausting. You need space, space to think, space to breathe, space to understand what's happening inside you. And people may not understand it. They might say you've changed, that you're distant, that you're not the same anymore. And they're right. You're not, because something within you is recalibrating. And solitude is where that transformation happens. Sign 5. You feel an inner call you can't ignore. This is the one that changes everything. There's a quiet pull inside you, a sense that you're meant for something more, even if you can't fully explain what that more is. It doesn't shout, it whispers, but it's persistent. It shows up in your thoughts, in your curiosity, in the way you question the life you're living. And no matter how much you try to silence it, it stays, because it's not a random feeling. It's direction, guiding you toward a path that aligns with who you're becoming, not who you've been. If you felt even one of these signs, pause for a moment, because this isn't something to ignore. This is something to understand. You're not losing yourself. You're shedding versions of yourself that no longer fit. You're not falling apart. You're breaking out of patterns you were never meant to stay in. And yes, it's uncomfortable. It's confusing. Sometimes it's even lonely. But it's also necessary, because awakening isn't about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you've always been, beneath the noise, beneath the expectations, beneath everything that isn't truly you. So don't fight it, don't rush it, and most importantly, don't ignore it. Because this moment, it's not the end of who you were. It's the beginning of who you're meant to become. If this spoke to you, if something in you recognized these signs, then don't scroll past it like it's nothing. Type, "I am awakening." Not for anyone else, but as a reminder to yourself that what you're feeling is real.